If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're in a good place now. You are listening to Perspectives with Ashley Burgess.
Welcome back live to Live Your True Life Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Burgess. We hear the word narcissism thrown around quite a bit. But narcissism isn't all the same. There's not just one brand of narcissism. Sure, you have your regular brand narcissism, and a lot of people have signs and symptoms of being narcissistic. They might not have all the signs and symptoms, but they might have a couple. But there's a particular type of narcissism that really does stand out in a crowd, a particular type of narcissism that you might not be aware of that you're dealing with. And if you're dealing with this type of narcissism, this brand of narcissism, you need to safeguard yourself. This person is not just interested in their grandiose, the perspective that people have about them, the way they see them, how they look. There is more going on behind the scenes. There is more sinister stuff going on behind the scenes that can actually hurt you. And so in today's podcast, I'm going to be talking about malignant narcissist, how to really identify a malignant narcissist, because this is very important. We have to talk about identification to understand what we're dealing with. And that takes some time. We can't just automatically look at identification and run into how do we solve it. We need to get a clear, concise understanding of what we're dealing with, be able to identify it properly so that we can eventually deal with it, respond, create those boundaries, safeguard ourselves, whether we have to safeguard ourselves physically or legally or mentally or emotional or both or all. We have to really focus on that. And so on today's show, we're going to be discussing malignant narcissists and how to really understand what we're dealing with, because it really is important. Knowledge is power. And if you don't know what you're dealing with, you can't begin to safeguard yourself in these situations. And I know that many of us know what an overt narcissist is, and that's pretty clear and to the point. And there's been lots and lots of shows, lots and lots of videos on narcissism. That grandiose self-esteem, self of importance, that those fantasies that they have about success and power, and they believe they're special and unique. That constant need for attention and admiration, that sense of entitlement, even if they haven't done anything to deserve it, a tendency to use others people to get what they want, a very, very much of a lack of empathy and unwillingness to understand others or to even have or understand the feelings of others, being envious of others, and that sense of arrogance. And that's all good and well, and that's your normal brand of narcissism. But we really need to dig deep into what a malignant narcissist is like, because many of you may be in a relationship with, in a family dynamic with, in a work environment with somebody that has malignant narcissistic signs. This person is even more unhealthy and toxic than your regular brand of narcissist. It makes your regular brand narcissist like a walk in the park. It makes them look like the nice guy, the nice girl, the person that you want to hang out with all the time, which is not the truth. But when you put them side by side, there's one that's going to be all about self, but they're not going to be necessarily trying to hurt you. The malignant narcissist is. So let's talk about that malignant narcissist, because in the beginning, a malignant narcissist is good usually with the mask. And that's how they get in on the relationship, right? That's how it all works out. It's not like you go, oh, wow, this is a malignant narcissist. I'm going to take them in. Oh, wow, this is going to be the greatest relationship with this malignant narcissist. Oh, I'm going to marry this malignant narcissist. It's not like you're saying that. This person has a mask. They've worn the mask for a very long time. The mask only comes down when you are in a relationship, when you're living with them, if you're a family member. And a lot of you out there might be dealing with a family member, a brother or sister that might be a malignant narcissist. Okay, so let's talk about some of this right now. The first thing is, just like a regular narcissist, they are preoccupied with the fantasies of success and power and beauty and, being the next model and all this stuff, no matter how old they are, no matter what they look like. They believe that they are God's gift to creation. So everything about them is phenomenal. They cannot handle any type of criticism. And so they can dish out. See, the thing is interesting with a narcissist and a malignant narcissist, they can dish out, the criticism. And they can be very, very, very mean, very toxic in their dishing out of criticism, usually cutting you down to size over and over again, putting you in your place, that sort of thing. But if you are to bring up anything about what they've done, even if it's something as simple as, oh, hey, you didn't take care of that today, or hey, I thought you were going to start looking for a job, we've been talking about that for a few years, whatever that looks like, they can't handle it and they will fight you. They will start a huge tantrum. They will take you down on something like that, and they'll hold it over your head. They will lash out no matter what. I mean, if they feel slighted, if they feel at all, like if you don't act right when you walk in the door and you say hi, but you don't say hi the right way. If you say, hey, what's up? Oh, hey, you're gonna start using the word "hey" with me. What kind of deal is that? If you don't make the proper eye contact, they will lash out. They will have an argument about it. They are also the types of people that will take advantage of other people to get exactly what they want. They will use people. They will create elaborate, schemes. They will use people to get what they want. And it could be a long game, too. It doesn't have to be a short game. A lot of these folks are playing a long game, and I mean, they're willing to go in it for a while. It's not like the short game where they're trying to take you for something. They're trying to actually take your soul. They're not just trying to take some of your money. So you got to understand that a lot of these folks are in for the long game. And so be careful, because in the beginning, that mask is fully on. They are wearing that mask to make sure that you don't see who they are. And by the way, once you do find out who they are, the outside world, for the most part, doesn't, because they're still playing that game, because then they're going to use that later to make other people feel like if you bring it up to other people what they're doing, they're going to try to make you look like you're losing your mind, you're going insane, you're the problem, you're the issue. So remember that. And that's the biggest struggle when you're dealing with a malignant narcissist, is they will try to make you by yourself, put you by yourself, so that you're in your own pain and agony. When you do try to reach out to other people, making you seem kind of weird, stupid, maybe under the influence, maybe you have some sort of mental issue yourself, that sort of thing. Now, at the same time, they're completely over concerned about their appearance. It's the same type of people that'll get dressed up to sit around the house. They're constantly on Instagram. You'll see folks where it's constant posing, constant pictures of just themselves. There's nobody else in the pictures. And sometimes scantily clad, that sort of thing, in order to get your attention. Now, it's interesting because they expect to be treated at a higher level than anybody else. And they're also looking to other people to get that narcissistic supply. So they want other people to validate them. They want other people to kiss their ass. They want other people to think that they're so great. So in the beginning, they're going to play a game with you. In the beginning, you are going to think that this person is that great. In the beginning, they will create the narrative, and you will help create the narrative with them, because they will use love bombing to get your attention, to act like they are, God's gift to you, that they're going to help you, they're going to do all these things. In reality, it's not going to happen, but in the beginning, it's going to feel like it, and they're doing all this so they can get their narcissistic supply from you, and eventually they don't have to be this fake, nice love bombing thing. They're going to get their supply from you in a negative way, but in the beginning, they're going to create this false sense of security with you. They're going to basically create this false sense of acceptance with you, so you're going to tell them all of your thoughts and feelings and everything about your past relationships, so that they can use this later to basically bombard you and make you feel bad, put you down, hurt you, and all those types of things in an effort to get what they want from you, to disparage you, and the list goes on. So stay tuned. We're talking about those signs of a malignant narcissist. Live your true life perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Burgess, will be back in. I'll be back this time in 2 shakes.
Turn it up and jump in the deep end on perspectives. Now, here's Ashley.
Welcome back live to Live Your True Life Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Burgess. On today's show, we're examining what makes a malignant narcissist. A malignant narcissist is very different from a regular brand of narcissist. And right before the break, I was talking about how they want this narcissistic supply. And in the beginning, like most narcissists, they create this love bombing to get your attention, to be there for you. You know, it's almost like you've met this perfect person to be in a relationship with. They're doing all these things for you, doting on you, all this stuff. And in the same process, they're making you feel so comfortable by you opening up and telling them about your past relationships or maybe about past marriages or whatever that is. And so you're giving them all this information, just feeding it to them as they're remembering all this. They have very good memories. Not always great memories, but they will have a better memory than you, especially in the process of gaslighting you. And then you won't even know, your butt from your head. So what they're doing is trying to get all that concentration of information in the process to eventually use against you. And because they don't have a lack of empathy for anybody, they don't care what they're going to put you through. They don't care the pain and suffering. It's all about them. Now, in the beginning, their mask is saying that it's all about you. Oh, they really care about you. And you're eating this up because they have all this attention for you and they drop everything to be there with you and all this stuff. And so in the beginning, it feels really good. The beginning never comes back. So I'm telling you straight up, once the beginning is over and the thing starts changing and the love bombing goes away and then the mean side of them starts coming out, they don't get nicer. They just get meaner. Okay, because remember, they don't have any empathy. This has always been the long game. So with a malignant narcissist, they play the long game to disparage you. They play the long game to basically, I hate to say it, but they're trying to take you out at a soul level. Okay, so they're not playing nice. It's not like they're going through a bad day or they're dealing with PMS. No, they are not playing nice. And they don't even know how to play nice. So that's not even part of their operandi. So they have this insane, inflated sense of self. They can't self-regulate. Okay, so that's the other thing too, is there's no self-regulation. And you have somebody like that, at the same time, they have no remorse for hurting others. No remorse. And they have no interest in apologizing unless it benefits them. Now, if it benefits them, they will apologize, but usually it's a false apology, right? So it's a fake apology to fill the gap because they know it's not, you're not going to let them get out of it. And I always find it interesting because, people say that, oh, well, they were crying. They were crying. And so, if somebody's crying, that doesn't make them a malignant narcissist, right? No, wrong. Okay. Just because they're crying doesn't mean that they have empathy. Most of the time when a malignant narcissist is crying, they are crying for their own benefit. They are crying because they are upset. Things aren't going their way. They're upset. They're crying. It has nothing to do with you. They're not going to cry over you. And I hate to say that. You could be dying in front of them. They're not going to cry over you. Now, they may start crying about the fact that you don't have a large, insurance policy. They might cry about the fact that their name is not on the mortgage of the home, but they're not going to cry about you dying. Okay, so I'm just putting this in perspective for you so you know what you're honestly dealing with. So they have this inflated sense of self, and usually there's a lot of issues there, right? They're not all that. Okay, they're not. It's the Napoleon complex on top of all this as well. And so they have all these insecurities, but they have this inflated sense of self. They think that they're better than everybody else. They look down at everybody else. Even if they don't have a dime, they look down at people that don't have money, even though they might not have any money. Okay? It's very interesting because they forget, who they really are. because they never know who they really are, because they've never really dealt with any sort of reality. They have no remorse for hurting other people. And they have this attitude that they deserve the very best of everything, no matter what. So no matter if they haven't done one thing in their life, no matter if they've never done anything for anybody, they still deserve everything. They are completely deserving of everything. That is what you call entitlement. They are beyond entitled. You think about entitlement, this is beyond entitlement. I mean, this is entitlement 10.0. No matter what. I mean, even if they've never bought you a gift in your life, they assume that you should always have a gift for them for every single holiday, every single birthday. They might have never even written you a card. If you don't get them a card for their birthday, it's the end all be all. You have literally screwed up. It's all about them. The fact that they give you anything or don't get, and if they're going to give you anything, again, it's another manipulation, because it's for another reason. And so they have this attitude that they deserve everything. And on top of that, they're allowed to mistreat others because they see others as being inferior. So they're mistreating you because you're lesser than them. So not only do they mistreat you, they actually think that you're lesser than them. They actually think that you're stupid and they're smart. And I'm putting it this way just so everybody kind of gets this, because I know that a lot of times we make excuses for people, especially, they had this challenging childhood. You know how many people had a challenging childhood that I work with? Okay. I mean, at least 90% of people had a challenging childhood that I have come into contact with in my life. You cannot just give people excuses for malignant narcissist behavior. The more excuses you give them, the more you lose yourself. The more you lose yourself, the more they win. The more you allow them to hurt you, the more the happier they get. The more hurt and pain they get from you, the more energy and power they take from you. So this is really a safety conversation today. This is a self-safety, being aware of predators today, because this is a predator. Okay, a malignant narcissist is a full-on predator. No matter how you slice it or dice it, they are predators. So they're going to monopolize the conversation. They're going to talk in circles a lot too, because they want to remind you over and over again what they're talking about. It's like, they're holding court. And again, remember, they see you as being lesser than. Always. So, remember that. That's really messed up all on its own. When somebody's looking down at you thinking that you're lesser than them, and they're treating you subpar, and they don't care about how you feel, and they don't, that's pretty wrong in and of itself, right? But because they have this really weak sense of self, it makes it even worse. Because think about it. You have this complex that you're better than life, but yet you know you're not. And so you're having this internal fight too, right? So the malignant narcissist is in a constant internal fight because they're weak. They're the weakest person on the planet. And why that they're so mean and abusive is because they're so angry, and they take that anger out on you. Okay, they want to take that out on you and put that on you. And we have so much to talk about because they have that tendency to blame everybody for everything they do. Everything they don't do and everything they do, they're going to blame you for it. They're never going to take responsibility for anything. And so if you get into the relationship with a malignant narcissist, they will blame you for every single thing you do, every single thing you don't do, everything they don't do, and everything they do. So again, think about it. And we'll talk more about the additional signs here. But I think it's very interesting to analyze the situation, because when you're dealing with a malignant narcissist, it's hard because you don't realize it at first because of that mask. And then you keep wondering, when are we going to get back to those good times? When are we going to get back to the beginning of the relationship? Things have gotten a little mean or out of proportion, or they seem to be talking in circles a lot and very negative and kind of pushing all my buttons, and they don't really care about me or being empathetic. But when are we going to get back to that? Well, I'm here to tell you, you're not going to get back to it. That was fakery, that was a mask, and that was not their truth. So we'll be talking more about that in just a second. Stay tuned. Live Your True Life Perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Burgess, will be back in. We'll be back this time in 2 shakes.
Looking to buy your dream home or rent that perfect apartment? With the Redfin app, you'll know the moment your next place hits the market. Set up your gotta have it wish list, and Redfin will send you real-time notifications for properties that match. And when you're ready to see it in person, scheduling a tour is just a tap away. Thinking about selling? Redfin can do that too. In fact, Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so they know how to get the best price for your home. And with a listing fee as low as 1%, Redfin charges half of what others often charge. So you could save big, like really big. Last year, Redfin saved home sellers $118 million. So whether you're buying, renting, or selling, Redfin's ready to help you win. Download the Redfin app and start searching today.
This is Jake Busey, and you're listening to Perspectives with Ashley Burgess.
Welcome back live to Live Your True Life Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Burgess. We're talking about malignant narcissism, how to really watch it, how to see it, how to know what you're dealing with. Because once you know you're dealing with this, you can't turn back. Once you know you're dealing with this, you can't make any more excuses. Okay, this isn't something to play with. You don't sit there and play with fire and go, oh, this is fun. No. We're not playing in the bonfire. We're not doing that. So if you want to safeguard yourself, you need this information. This information is very important because these folks show up with a mask on, a narrative there. They're going to be that person you need right then. They're going to have that mask secure. So secure that you don't know the difference between them and the mask because you don't even know there's a mask. And in the beginning, the love bombing is great. Even if it's just a friendship, they're there. They're your best friend. They're there all the time. They care. They're taking care of this or that. They're all these things that you've never had before. Somebody's really going that extra mile for you. You know, it's always interesting, too, with the narration that they create. And they fall right into play with you. So you're wanting something, and they're going to play on that because they know. They play on things, right? If you're needing something, you're needing somebody to be there for you. You know, you're telling them all your secrets and all. Oh, I'm going to play into that. I'm the only person you can trust. I'm there for you. I care about you. They're going to play into all those emotions for you. They're also going to play into your fears, okay? So they're going to do all those things. In the process, they're going to do all this stuff for you in the beginning, and you're going to think, man, I have met the best friend, or I've met the best, possible lover in my life, or this is going to be the best spouse, or whatever it is. It could be maybe your brother or sister got married to someone. Oh man, this is going to be best. We're going to have the great family reunions, whatever it is. You have met somebody that is going to throw you under the bus. And you'll start realizing it when the mask slowly comes off because you can't be around somebody. See, the thing is about a malignant narcissist, you got to be around them enough. So if you're living with them, yes, the mask will fully come off. The mask will come off. It'll be on the ground. It'll be shattered. There will be no mask, and you will be living with it. The thing about a malignant narcissist is that only people that are really close to them really know who they are. Okay, because they're good at hiding it. You don't like a lot of sociopathic, antisocial behavior. And it's not until you're around that person enough to really realize what you're dealing with. But then you're like, whoa, I'm really dealing with somebody with antisocial behavior. I'm dealing with a sociopath. It's not until you really realize it. But if you're just having small interactions with somebody, you're not going to know. You got to see the body of work. Okay, so the other thing about a malignant narcissist is if you're living with that malignant narcissist, like I was talking about how they have these hidden insecurities, and they're super weak individuals, super weak constitution, and they're going to take that out on you. They blame others for their behavior. They blame others for what they do or they don't do. Oh, you didn't do this for me. I mean, it's basically like you're hand-holding this person. You're doing everything for them, and even if you do everything for them, you didn't do it right. Okay, the interesting part, though, that I find very interesting with a malignant narcissist is they see everything in black and white. They see the world in black and white. They see the world as binary. It's a yes or no. It's a black and white. We see people as friend or foe. You see people as bad or good. Okay, now they don't judge themselves like that. They just judge and see every single other person like that. They're not going to, if you try to ask them a yes or no question, they're going to get angry with you. But if you try to give context to an answer, they're going to get angry with you and say, this is a binary world. It's a yes or no. It's a black or white. It's one thing or another. Why are you trying to lie? They're going to try to box you in any way they can. And they're going to win at all costs. No matter what that win looks like. So the thing is that a lot of people get confused as to the reasons why people do things in life. And I hate to say it, but there's some people out there that do bad things because that's who they are. And I hate to have such a negative connotation on this, but it is. I can't sugarcoat malignant narcissism. I can't sugarcoat it. I can't bring in the unicorns and the rainbows and tell you it's all great. And I wouldn't do that anyway because, we can't lie about this. We just got to throw it out there the way it is. This is the truth. And you need to safeguard yourself. And so think about it. They're going to box you in. You're not going to be able to communicate like you normally do. And they're going to win at all costs. But what are they going to try to win? Now, remember, a malignant narcissist is beating at their own drum. And their idea of winning is taking down you. Their idea of winning is hurting other people to get what they want. They don't even care about you. You're a stepping stone. And I want you to think about it. If you're in a relationship with a malignant narcissist, they are just trying to figure out when they can step on your head to get above you. And I hate to throw it out there like this, but this is the case. When can I step on your head to push you under the water and suffocate you so that I can get above you? Even though you might have helped me or taken care of me or you might have been there for me, it doesn't matter. They don't think about that. Again, that's the reason why the word malignant is used to describe this. So they're going to try to win at all costs, and they're going to leave a lot of pain and suffering in their wake of what they're doing. So they don't care, though, about the pain that they're going to put you through. They don't care about the suffering they're going to put you through. See, they create this narrative that they are justified in what they're doing. Okay? They don't even think about it. They don't even think about what they're doing to you. They don't care about the pain they're causing. They don't care about what they're doing. And they're just liking this experience because they're empowering themselves. Because remember, these people come from a very small constitution. They are not happy people. They are very insecure. They have all these hidden insecurities that are hidden by all these masks. Okay. And so unfortunately, they get empowered by taking away other people's power. So like by taking away your happiness, your joy, by taking away your theory of positivity or that the world is a good, safe place, by doing that, they actually relish that because it gives them power. And so the more they take from you, the more empowered they become. So also, they're going to always protect themselves no matter what. They're going to protect themselves from anything. So if they have to use you as a human shield, they'll do it. They will protect themselves at all costs. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter. They will protect themselves at all costs. And in my work and in my practice with clients, I've seen it happen where, the mask starts coming off, but right before the mask comes off, it's like, oh, I know that we've only been together for 6 months, but hey, can you put me on the mortgage to the house? And hey, where am I in the will? And da-da-da-da. And when are we getting married? And da-da-da-da. But it's not about I love you. It's about when are you going to put me, when are you going to give me money? When is my name going to be on the will, in case you die? In case you die. We only know it's 6 months, but in case you die, where am I at? Because you would hate for something to happen to me, right? And that's the key, is that they will protect themselves at all cost. At all cost. At all. Your sanity, your energy, your money, your life, they will protect themselves at all costs. So again, you're when you think about malignant, it's like you have to remember the fact that they are basically living off you already. Okay, so they are taking your life force. And in the process of taking your life force, it's like a vampire. But in the beginning, it doesn't seem like that because they created the false mask. Okay, and so we're going to talk more about that in our last segment here in the podcast, because I kind of want to help formulate this, because this can be a lot of overwhelming information at one time. but it's necessary and needed to safeguard you so that you know exactly what you're dealing with. You got to maybe listen to this podcast a couple of times to really kind of get it all in, because this is a lot to take in, but it's necessary. And I want to safeguard you, and I want you to safeguard yourself. So stay tuned. Live your true life perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Burgess, will be back in. I'll be back this time in 2 shakes.
Get in here. You're listening to Perspectives with Ashley Burgess.
Welcome back live to Live Your True Life Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Burgess. I've been talking about Malignant Narcissist on today's show, and it is a special brand of narcissism. And, it's interesting because, in the beginning, in order to get into a relationship or a friendship, a marriage, what have you, with somebody like this, there was a mask being worn. There was a false narrative that was being created that you were also falling for as well and believing in. And some of you may have been very innocent as far as not trying to create this narrative or what have you, but this person seemed to be everything that you had wanted and was just so happy and couldn't believe that this was coming to you in your life. And so I understand that. But as we begin to see, the mask coming off, and we begin to realize and see that there's truth to what we're talking about here, we have to stop making those excuses. We have to stop making the excuses. Because the more we make the excuses, the more we enable, the more we accept this bad behavior, the more we lose ourselves, the more that we don't have any boundaries, the more that we fall apart, the more issues we have. So we have to stop making excuses. We have to also realize that the beginning was not honest. And that can be one of the hardest things, because that's what really kind of set up the scene here, is that in the beginning, they acted like this was honest behavior. They acted as if this is who they are. And so for many of you, it could have lasted a few months. It could have been 6 months. It could have even been a year. Normally, it's about 6 to 8 months where the mask is. It can be shorter time, but that mask was on, and it was a good time because it seemed like they were very caring and there and honest with you and all this great stuff, but it wasn't real. And so I need you to be okay with kind of trying to get up on that and turning that around and realizing that, because you got to stop thinking that it's going to get back to the way it was, because the way it wasn't real. So there's no getting back to the way it was, because that was fake. That was manufactured. And that can be really hard in its own to accept. And so that part might be really hard to accept, because your brain is going to keep trying to go back to it. John or Mary or whatever was so great. I wish we could go back to those times. Well, John or Mary wasn't real in those times. That was a narrative that was created to get and elicit from you. That was a kind of a long game to try to get something from you. So, we have to begin to see these people for who they are, and we have to stop making excuses. And we have to also accept the fact that there are malignant narcissists. We have to accept the fact that there are people that don't necessarily want us to do well. There are people that will step on our head to get ahead. Now, in the process, they might be using us. And in the process, we might be getting something out of it too, but you got to look at the reality behind it. You got to look at what they're coming from, because if somebody doesn't have empathy and they don't really care about you or your feelings or emotions, and your pain and suffering don't matter, then what's really happening? Who are you really in a relationship with? Not somebody that's going to be helpful. Not somebody that's going to be there for you, really. It's going to be somebody that's hurtful, painful, somebody that's going to elicit some negative responses, somebody that's really not there for you. They're not really there for anybody. It's not just that you're the only person they're not there for. Also, we have to see the beginning again as fake. We have to see the beginning and keep telling ourselves and keep reminding and keep seeing the chinks in the armor from the beginning, because there were many signs. There were definitely whispers that there was fakery. There was definitely whispers, but a lot of times we don't want to see it. But you got to go back and look at that sometimes. You got to go back and look at some of those red flags and write them down. Write them down. Writing them down is amazing, because in the relationship with a malignant narcissist, they will gaslight you. to question your reality, to get you to question your reality so that they can even run more game in the situation. So we have to see through this. You know, you also want to begin to look at how often they are putting you down, criticizing you. How often are you being criticized? How often are you being put down? Really think about that. How often is this happening? And that's something to really analyze. And it's very important to analyze that. It's very important. Because in the process of analyzing that, you begin to see the truth. You begin to see the truth of how much is really happening. Because, and I don't want you to just write it off. Oh, they were in a bad mood. You know, all these types of things, giving excuses for their behavior. Would you be able to have that behavior? Would you be able to talk to them like that? Would you be able to criticize them like that? And try it out. See what happens with a malignant narcissist. You know, even bringing up anything, they're going to have a freaking meltdown. They're going to have a meltdown that you're going to wish you never brought up anything, because they will melt down for 4 hours, keeping you up all night or starting it off at 5 a.m. in the morning. You know, I had a client recently who was telling me about that. It started at 4 a.m. They woke them up and started arguing again about something. You know, also one of the biggest things I find with these types of relationships is that ultimately these people kind of want to steal your joy. They don't care about your joy. They don't care about you necessarily. Now, they care about you to a means to an end, to get something, to use something, to have something, to do that. Yes, that's true. However, they're not caring about your joy or how you feel or your self-esteem. They're not trying to build your self-esteem up. Oh, I'm going to build up some. Yeah, that's not, nah. No. They want all the accolades. They want you to sit there and, and tell them how great they are. But when it comes to you, they're not going to build you up. They're going to take you down. They're going to take you down because it empowers them. And that's what I really want you to think about is if you're dealing with a malignant narcissist, your pain is their gain. Okay? Your pain is their gain. And so if you're telling them, whatever, you need to really watch out and realize, how does somebody gain? Like, somebody that's healthy is not gaining from you by you being in pain. Quite the opposite. A healthy person doesn't want to see somebody else in pain. They're going to try to help and be there. They're not going to try to put you down or hurt you or make you feel bad. That's not going to happen. So these are all things that you want to think about. These are all things that you kind of want to think about and analyze, because in these situations, your pain is their gain. And it's very important to understand, and it's very important to analyze. And so think about that. If you're dealing with a malignant narcissist, you need to begin to safeguard yourself. You need to see the truth. You need to analyze the truth. You need to recognize how the beginning was not true, how the beginning there was a mask being worn, how you fell for a different reality than is the reality that is now, that is the truth. And we need to start to begin to safeguard ourselves. We need to start, reaching out to our friends and family, reaching out to people that you actually, can trust, like really thinking about the direction of your life, thinking about what you want in your life, thinking about how you're going to get there, thinking about different things like that, and then seeing the situation for what it is. And I'll have other shows here about talking about what we can do about it. But in the meantime, it's overwhelming enough usually to hear this, but it's the right thing, because in order to know what to do, we have to know what we're dealing with. It's for example, if you're not diagnosed, but you think you have a disease, but you're not diagnosed and you haven't had the test run, how can you begin to get a solution? How can you begin to get better if you don't know what it is? We have to know what it is. We have to know what the brand of the situation is, and then we have to go by that to analyze what we need to do to safeguard ourselves and to create the life that we want, because that's so important. And I just want everybody to understand what the truth is, because once we know the truth, then we can see it, we understand it. But if we don't know and it's going under the radar, we can't safeguard ourselves. We can't change things. We can't augment things. We can't do things that we need to do. And that is why I think it's so important to just get the information out, the knowledge out, because the knowledge is power. I hope the show has helped you and connected with you. Please share with anybody that you think needs to hear this message. If you haven't already, check out YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. We have almost 200,000 subscribers. We definitely would love you to subscribe to the channel. Just go to YouTube, put in Life Coach Ashley Burgess, and push that subscribe button, and you'll get you'll get notifications of the new videos. We have lots of videos on narcissism, malignant narcissists, BPD, even how, toxic relationships, as well as, healthy relationships. What makes a healthy relationship, and the list goes on. So hopefully you can also be a part of the YouTube channel as well. So I hope that this show is connected with you. We'll have another show next week, and Live Your True Life Perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Burgess, will be back in. I'll be back this time. You know it. I'll be back this time in 3 shakes.